Walk through any grocery store reveals hundreds of snack options, bright packages, health claims, words like natural, heart healthy, and high protein. But here's the problem. Many seniors are choosing snacks that look healthy while completely ignoring some of the most powerful foods for healthy aging. One of those foods is nuts. And after 60, choosing the right nuts may help support muscle strength, brain health, heart function, and long-term independence. The wrong choices, however, can quietly add excess sugar, sodium, and empty calories to your diet. That's why today's video matters, because we're going to separate the best nuts from the worst ones. Before we begin, tell me your age in the comments, and let me know your biggest health concern right now. Weak legs? Low energy? Poor circulation? Memory concerns? Now let's start with one of the best nuts for seniors. Walnuts. Nutrition experts have studied walnuts for years because they're packed with beneficial nutrients and healthy fats. Think of walnuts as a nutrient package, small in size, but loaded with value. One senior patient told me she used to reach for cookies every afternoon. It was a habit she'd had for decades. Eventually, she replaced those cookies with a small handful of walnuts. The result wasn't dramatic overnight, but she felt more satisfied and experienced fewer cravings later in the day. That's one reason walnuts are so useful. They help support healthier eating patterns, and healthier eating patterns often lead to healthier aging. But walnuts aren't the only nut seniors should know about. In fact, the next nut on our list may be even more important if you're concerned about maintaining muscle strength after 60. Here's where things get interesting. Most seniors worry about losing strength. They notice stairs becoming harder. Getting out of a chair takes more effort. Walking long distances becomes tiring, and many assume it's simply a normal part of aging. But nutrition plays a much bigger role than most people realize. That's why almonds deserve special attention. Almonds contain protein, fiber, and important nutrients that help support overall health. Think of your muscles like a home that's constantly being repaired. Every day, tiny amounts of wear and tear occur. Protein provides the raw materials needed for those repairs. Without enough protein, that process becomes harder. One gentleman in his 70s told me he felt weaker every year despite eating plenty of food. When we reviewed his meals, the problem became obvious. He was eating enough calories, but not enough quality protein. There's a difference. Once he started making better food choices, including nutrient-dense snacks like almonds, he felt more energized and capable throughout the day. Not because almonds are magic, because better habits create better outcomes. Now here's something most seniors don't know. The goal isn't finding one superfood. The goal is making small improvements consistently. And almonds make that easier because they're convenient. No cooking, no preparation, no complicated recipes. Just a simple, nutritious option that can fit into almost any lifestyle. But almonds aren't the only nut worth considering. In fact, the next nut on our list has a unique advantage that many health experts love, and most people completely overlook it. Most people walk right past this next nut in the grocery store without realizing how useful it can be after 60. Pistachios. They may be small, but they offer a surprising advantage. Unlike many snack foods, pistachios naturally slow you down. Why? Because many come in shells. Every shell you open creates a brief pause, and that pause matters more than you think. One of the biggest reasons people overeat isn't hunger, it's speed. They eat while watching television. They eat while scrolling on their phones. They eat without paying attention. Pistachios help break that pattern. One retired teacher told me she could finish an entire bag of chips without realizing it. But when she switched to pistachios, something changed. The shells forced her to slow down, to be more aware. And before long, she was eating less while feeling just as satisfied. That's a powerful combination. Now here's another benefit. Pistachios contain protein and fiber, two nutrients that help you stay fuller longer. After 60, that's important, because many seniors struggle with constant snacking. Not because they're hungry, because their meals aren't satisfying enough. The right foods help solve that problem naturally, and pistachios are one example. But let's switch gears for a moment, because not every nut product deserves a place in your pantry. In fact, one of the most popular nut snacks sold today may be doing more harm than good. Honey-roasted nuts. At first glance, they seem healthy. After all, they're still nuts. But here's the catch. Many honey-roasted products contain significant amounts of added sugar. Suddenly, what started as a nutritious snack becomes much closer to candy. The nut itself isn't the problem, it's everything added to it. That's why I always encourage seniors to read ingredient labels carefully. The shorter the ingredient list, the better. A package that says almonds is usually a safer choice than one containing sugar syrups, coatings, and artificial flavorings. Simple often wins. Now here's something many healthy seniors understand. They don't focus on eating perfectly, they focus on eating wisely most of the time. That's a huge difference. And the next nut on our list might be the most overlooked of all. In fact, many people have never even tried it, yet it contains a nutrient that becomes increasingly important as we age. Very few seniors know about the next nut on our list. In fact, many people walk past it every week without giving it a second thought. Brazil nuts. They don't look special, they aren't heavily advertised, and they rarely appear on superfood lists. But here's why they're worth paying attention to. Brazil nuts are one of the richest natural sources of selenium. Selenium is a mineral your body needs in small amounts for many important functions. The interesting part? You don't need a handful. You don't need a bowl full. In most cases, just 1 or 2 Brazil nuts can provide a substantial amount. That's why portion size matters. One older gentleman I worked with loved simple health habits. When he learned he only needed 1 or 2 Brazil nuts a day, he added them to his breakfast routine and never looked back. Simple, affordable, easy to remember, and those are often the habits that last. Now here's something else worth mentioning. The healthiest seniors rarely chase trends. They're not constantly searching for miracle foods. Instead, they focus on building a strong foundation, good nutrition, regular movement, quality sleep, and smart food choices. Brazil nuts can fit into that foundation, but they aren't the only overlooked option. Pecans deserve attention too. Pecans are rich, satisfying, and packed with beneficial nutrients. One woman in her 70s started adding a small amount of chopped pecans to her morning yogurt. The result wasn't some dramatic transformation, but she noticed she stayed satisfied longer and had fewer cravings later in the day. Sometimes the biggest benefits come from the simplest changes. Now let's talk about another mistake many seniors make. Flavored nuts, barbecue almonds, sweet chili cashews, honey-glazed pecans, buffalo pistachios, the list goes on. The problem isn't the nuts, the problem is what gets added to them. Extra sodium, extra sugar, extra oils, extra calories. What started as a nutritious snack becomes much more processed. That's why the healthiest option is often the simplest one. Raw, dry roasted, lightly salted, minimal ingredients. Nature already did most of the work. Now here's the surprising part. The strongest and healthiest seniors I've met all seem to follow one rule. They don't obsess over individual foods. They focus on overall patterns. And that mindset may be more important than any specific nut you'll ever eat. What I'm about to tell you may be more important than every nut we've discussed so far. Because the healthiest seniors I've ever met all seem to understand one simple truth. Health is built through patterns. Not perfect days, not miracle foods, not quick fixes, patterns. Think about it. No one becomes stronger because they ate walnuts once. No one improves their health because they ate almonds for a single day. Results come from consistency. One smart choice repeated hundreds of times, then thousands of times. One retired engineer explained it perfectly. He told me, "I stopped asking what food was healthiest and started asking what habits I could stick with." That shift changed everything. Instead of chasing the newest nutrition trend, he focused on simple habits. A handful of nuts instead of chips, more whole foods, more walking, better sleep, less processed food. Nothing extreme, but the results added up. Now let's do a quick review. Nuts seniors should eat more often. Walnuts great for overall healthy aging and a smart replacement for processed snacks. Almonds, a convenient source of protein and nutrients that support an active lifestyle. Pistachios, naturally encourage mindful eating and help with satisfaction. Brazil nuts, rich in selenium and effective in very small amounts. Pecans, a satisfying addition to a balanced eating plan. Nuts seniors should limit. Honey-roasted nuts, candy-coated nuts, sugar-glazed nuts, highly flavored nut snacks, excessively salted mixed nuts. Notice something important. The problem usually isn't the nut. The problem is the processing. That's a lesson that applies to many foods. The closer a food is to its natural form, the better it usually is for long-term health. Now here's a challenge for you. The next time you go grocery shopping, take a closer look at the snack aisle. Read the labels, compare ingredients. You may be surprised by what you find. A package marketed as healthy isn't always healthy. But simple foods often speak for themselves. One ingredient, two ingredients. That's usually a good sign. And remember this, the goal after 60 isn't just living longer, it's maintaining the strength, energy, and independence to enjoy life. The foods you choose every day can help support that goal. Now before we finish, tell me in the comments, which nut do you eat most often? Walnuts? Almonds? Pistachios? Pecans? Brazil nuts? Or something else? I'd love to know. And if you found this video helpful, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a friend or family member over 60, because one small change today may lead to a healthier tomorrow. And in the final part, I'll give you a simple, senior-friendly nut-eating plan that makes choosing the right nuts easier than ever. Here's a simple reality that many seniors never hear. You don't need a complicated diet to age well. You don't need expensive supplements, and you certainly don't need to be perfect. What you need is a plan that's simple enough to follow every day. Because the best nutrition plan is the one you can actually stick with. So let's put everything together. A simple nut plan after 60. Morning. Add a small handful of walnuts or chopped pecans to oatmeal, yogurt, or fruit. This takes less than a minute but instantly makes breakfast more satisfying. Afternoon snack. Choose a small handful of almonds or pistachios instead of chips, crackers, or cookies. This helps provide protein and healthy fats that keep you fuller longer. A few times per week. Enjoy 1 or 2 Brazil nuts as part of a balanced diet. Remember, more is not better. Small amounts are enough. That's it. Nothing complicated. No special recipes. No expensive products. Just simple choices repeated consistently. Now here's the shocking part. Many seniors spend years looking for the perfect food while ignoring the foods they eat every single day. The truth is, your everyday choices matter far more than occasional treats. One healthy snack won't change your life, but hundreds of healthy snacks over the next year, that can absolutely make a difference. One gentleman in his late 70s shared something interesting with me. He said, "I stopped focusing on what I should stop eating and started focusing on what I should start eating. That mindset changed everything. Instead of constantly feeling restricted, he focused on adding better foods. More nuts, more fruit, more vegetables, more protein. And naturally, the less healthy foods became a smaller part of his routine. That's often the smartest approach. Build health instead of chasing perfection." Now let's end with one final thought. Aging is unavoidable, but losing your independence isn't something you should simply accept. Every healthy meal, every walk, every good night's sleep, every smart snack choice helps support the future version of you. And those choices add up faster than most people realize. So here's today's challenge. This week, replace just one processed snack with a handful of healthy nuts. Just one. Start there. Small actions create momentum. Momentum creates habits, and habits create results. If you're ready to make that commitment, type, "I'm starting today" in the comments, and tell me which nut you're adding to your routine first. If you enjoyed this series, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with another adult over 60, because good health information is only valuable when it's shared. And in the next video, we'll reveal the surprising breakfast foods that help protect muscles, support energy, and fight age-related weakness after 60. Until then, stay active, stay informed, stay consistent, and remember, healthy aging isn't about finding one perfect food. It's about making better choices, one day at a time.